The CarolinaPreps.com spring football tour continues. Made my way here to Palisades High School in southwestern Charlotte, and here with Coach Simmons. Coach, how are you doing today? Appreciate you letting us stop by and talk some football with you.
I feel great. Just another day in the spring. We're finishing up our max week. So just trying to close out our spring, close out first part of our spring before we get to spring break, and then obviously heading into spring practices. So doing well.
Well, this is going to be your fourth year leading this program. It's been a remarkable journey to see you guys go from a brand new school to really achieving some great success last year. I was looking at your roster, and you had about 20 seniors, but you also have about 25, 26 rising seniors coming up behind them, as well as looks like a good number of younger underclassmen, some sophomore and freshmen that seen some playing time as well. So it just looks like you guys are working really hard, and the future really could be bright here at Palisades.
Yes, sir. When you're speaking about our roster, one thing I've noticed is like at more established schools, especially if they're 8A, now 8A schools, they're usually graduating about 30 to 40 seniors. I know Mallard Creek graduated 40 seniors this past year. So they usually have like large classes where a lot of those guys are playing, which then minimizes opportunity for younger players to play and develop and grow unless they're really, really good. We haven't had that quite yet. We've had to play a lot of young guys early from day one. For example, Elijah Batchelor is returning this year. He's going to be a 4-year starter on varsity. Drew Drakeford, who outside of injury will be a 4-year starter for varsity. And there's countless others who are going to be 3-4-year starters. So we're kind of blessed that we're going to have so much experience returning. But at the same time, it would be nice to have, larger groups kind of graduating and moving through here so we can have a more mature team.
Unlike some coaches who maybe take over at established programs that's been around for 10, 15, maybe 25 plus years, you've taken over a brand new school, and it's new from every aspect to the assistant coaches, the equipment, everything. I've looked at you from afar, the success you've had, and it almost looks like, you've been putting down grass seed and fertilizer and just building the roots of this program. And while you guys may not have the tradition or, the established tradition that maybe some of these programs, how do you feel like the community and just the players are taking on the roots and just all the hard work you've done to kind of build your own tradition and establishment here?
I'll say this, Southwest Charlotte's been, I guess, yearning for some good quality football, where families can be a part of it. You come over here on a Friday night and our stands are packed, the home side. So, and that's since day one. We've yet to have an issue with filling our stands, even when we weren't, doing very well. So it just kind of leads me to believe like this community wants good football, will continue to grow, will continue to develop. And that's exciting, in looking for opportunity. Because, again, while we could talk about how the program has developed, my biggest thing was really just trying to get an opportunity. Everybody, this is for the young coaches out there who are, are in my shoes or may be in my shoes, is that, everybody tells you need experience but don't want to give you an opportunity. So I was really just looking for an opportunity, A. B, I was chasing a relationship. I previously worked with my principal, so I knew he would support me. He would support the program, support the vision, which he has never wavered from. And then again, just kind of being in a good area that football can thrive. Just seeing, Olympic all these years, the talent they've had. So I knew since we were pulling from that area, we would have a great shot to be good. And even this past year, us in Olympic were co-champions. This will be the only time I ever give them a little shout out. But we were co-champions. So it just speaks that our community has a ton of talent where two schools pulling from each other were able to both be conference champions and go to the playoffs and so forth. So it just speaks to, all of that.
Well, Coach, I cover North Carolina football on a statewide level. And, I feel like you're extremely well known here in the Charlotte area. But maybe to some of the coaches or the fans or just some of the people that follow high school football around the state and maybe don't know a lot about Coach Jonathan Simmons. You grew up in Western Long Island, I guess it is, the outskirts of New York City. I graduated from Johnson C. Smith. And I've looked at your resume. You've coached at some tremendous programs. You've coached at Berry, I think Hopewell, Huff, Chambers. You've worked with some really good head coaches along the way as well. I think of Coach Matt Jenkins at Huff, and obviously Coach Aaron Brand, who did a great job at West Charlotte and Chambers, and now really getting it done at Irmo in South Carolina. How have you taken a little bit of those coaches you've worked with along the way to kind of forge your own philosophies and just your own way of coaching?
Yeah, my mentor, my coaching mentors are unreal. Aaron Brand, who to me is as good as it gets in terms of developing a program and developing young men and developing coaches. If I could do that experience again, I would. I do it, almost 3 times for how much he's done for me and teaching me things without necessarily teaching me. And then Matt Jenkins kind of being side by side in the office and just seeing it, again, not having to constantly be lectured to, but just seeing it, seeing how he worked with parents, seeing how he would pull kids into his office and motivate them and keep them trying to, do the right thing was truly special. So those 2 guys, and then 2018, I got to work with Miles Aldridge as while he was the defensive coordinator at Vance, and man, talk about just a strong football acumen of a head, of a coach, working for 2 head coaches at that point with him and Coach Brand. So my coaching mentors is like, really, really good. So I think it's helped springboard me to where now this experience is kind of, again, it didn't feel as tough because, again, I was kind of prepared for it. I just needed the opportunity. And I don't want to say that arrogantly because we had one good year. I say that confidently because we were making progress every single day. The record was just the last piece. Just winning games was the last piece. So that's kind of what I'm more so speaking to.
Well, I've enjoyed this conversation that we had even leading up to this interview. Your authenticity and, your football acumen, it speaks for itself. I've enjoyed listening to your philosophies on just leading kids and programs. And I think you're going to do great things. And I appreciate the hospitality and just letting me swing by and talk some football with you today.
Yes, sir. Thank you again for what you do for high school sports. Thank you and Langston and, all those other guys and the Matt Morrows and the Dale Rosses, all you guys. Again, it's thankless work. You guys rank high school players and teams, and people are angry at you. So, include myself sometimes. So, for real, thank you guys. Because again, our kids wouldn't, our sport wouldn't take off without you guys. So, thank you guys so much.
Well, thanks for having me, Coach, and I look forward to seeing you again in the near future.
Yes, sir.